A wall. A climbing wall. I've seen them all I get around. A chair, for no one there, and if I stare it gets me down. Shadow drop, fast embrace, lipstick stain on an ivory face. Try to make up from down, scratch the wind, taste its sound. Open wide, the hallucinogenic cover that you hide, for all to see the color of art, your poetry.
Sing me an ocean, lift me up on your breeze, oh, let me taste the scent of whispering seas. A sorority of mermaids.
Sing me an ocean, lift me up on your breeze. Let me taste the scent of the whispering seas. A sorority of mermaids. Open wide, the hallucinogenic cover that you hide, for all to see the color of art, your poetry. The world seems such a noisy place when you're alone, incoherent, unexplainable, alien. The language of languages, shoals of differing fish, chase one and each through the silvering iridescence of acceptance. Aquarium, labyrinthine, where echoes breed and starfish spin. I will swim where the slow whale swims. I will surf upon my scalloped shell to the coast of Tralee, to my village of January. Dismantler of the sun and stars, my moon-shadowing gift from Celine casts afar. Vespertine, serpentine, eyelids that taste the dawn. Plenitude in valor, my kites, my masks, my shield, shield me from the ghosts of my unhappiness. Rearrange the furniture inside my head, scattering the funeral confetti of circuitous bats, coiled from snail shell and a cries from a cat. A taste of cared winds, bitching, bewitching brew, a lacrimal harlequin. Shoes made of skimming butterfly wings, a heart once sad dance through the welkin. Eyelids that kiss the night, vapors vaporously sang. Obscured within a Nepenthian mask, I roll you up and smoke you slow, and the nearest thing is far away. I was building my world, now a world empty. Come. Come here now. I have something to tell you, something you may not already know. Do you wish for me to relate a moment from my past? Only a moment. But that moment still haunts even to this very hour. I never thought I would be a victim. No. But I was stained inside and out. I was young then, a happy girl of age only 19, and everyone over 20 is old. We've all been there. 19. I had many friends, too few lovers. But I was always there when someone needed a shoulder to cry on. My cuddling arms would squeeze every drop of hurt out of a broken heart. Oh, I was young then. Early 80s Dublin, and the streets sang with hope, that my hope was torn from me by a false swan to protect. You see, I was raped. I was raped when I was 19, nearly 20 years ago. I was a coward's victim and made to feel like a whore. Oh, I was young then. Plenitude in valour, my pikes, my masks, my shield. Shield me from the ghosts of my unhappiness. Rearrange the furniture inside my head. Scattering the funeral confetti of circuitous bats, coiled from a snail shell and the cries from a cat. A taste of carrot winds, bitching, bewitching brew. A lacrimal harlequin, shoes made of skimming butterfly wings. A heart once sad danced through the welkin. Eyelids that kiss the night, vapors so porously sang. Obscured within in a Pantheon mask, I roll you up and smoke you slow, and the nearest thing is far away. I was building my world, now a world empty.
Penny for your thoughts?
Nothing? It's just the rain. There's beautiful melancholy about the rain. It's as though the seasons cried as they sold their alibis, and now my window pane trickles with the lost tears of lovers.
That sounds so sad. But it rains all the time in Dublin. Why should this rain be any different from all the others?
Oh, there's a haunting music in the rain. I can hear it. I could laugh, but I'd almost certainly cry as I watch this infectious cascade drizzle kaleidoscopic patterns from the prism of apperception. The tempo of glass beads on the window cling, only to fall and fade away, as raindrops chase one another from a dissolved rainbow.
That sounds so sweet, Lucy. But sad all the same.
Oh, I see art in all I see. You search for a sphere where only colour and sound live, and watching those droplets being tickled, pink and blue and green and red, from this liquefying moment inspires a creativity, a nascency from a stolen innocence.
Lucy, you sound extremely mysterious. There's an esoteric infatuation somewhere than yours that I find intriguing. I know that you're an artist, and that your surrealist paintings cause me to stare, then stir. But I failed to ask. Lucy, I've known you for what now? 2 years, and although I know you, and you're a very good friend of mine, at times I feel that there's a loneliness, an emptiness inside of you, as though there's something missing from your life.
Forgive me, Colette. I don't want to sound mysterious or even ambiguous. You're my friend. Oh, I would never do such a thing to you. Something from my past reoccurs. I live with it. Sometimes it feels as though it overtakes me. Co-eternally in competition with myself. I should be in the prime of my life.
But you are. You are.
It's not that I'm in the prime of my life. I will never be. Never was.
Lucy, sometimes...
I craved for a child once. Like all women, the maternal instinct flooded my inquisitiveness. When I saw a pregnant woman walking down the street, I used to think, wow, she looks so beautiful. So serene. With the radiance of Venus. Oh, Colette, I too wish to cherish that growth.
So you're feeling broody, are ya? Oh, come on, Lucy. Our biological clocks are pulsating with the strength of our hearts. We're in our late 20s. Time is on our side.
It's hard to speak of, even at this late hour of my life. You see, Colette, I was pregnant once. Pregnant. 9 years ago.
What happened? Did you put the little fella up for adoption?
No. For years I couldn't trust anyone. It's just meeting you that my trust is returned. People have the impression that artists are loners, and to a certain extent that much is true. We have to engage in our psychological environment and see eccentricity as a failing rather than a gift. My trust and my sexuality were abused when I was 19.
19? Why? What happened?
Colette, it's you I trust more than anyone. I wouldn't be sitting here trusting you, peeling my heart out in front of you. I love you. I'd lost the capacity for loving until you came into my life. You rekindled my faith. And all the emotions I had when I was 19 have returned. Except that ghost of my unhappiness which torments me.
Abused? Pregnant? I'm confused.
Oh, it happened one night back in the spring of 1979. When I was 19, I moved to the city of Dublin. When I was 19, I met my first true love. When I was 19, Shane O'Shaughnessy was the lad my soul had been searching for. Oh, a mysterious Sagittarian from Shanagolden came into my heart.
Go on, Lucy.
When we were 19, days and nights never ended. When we were 19, we were only one kiss away.
That sounds romantic. But what did you mean when you spoke of abuse?
It's a long story. Traumatic also. It's a story of magic. And then loss.
Open up where you hide, Lucy. Share with me your pain. Let us exorcise this ghost of your unhappiness.
Shane and I lived together on a bedsit on Barrow Street. An L-shaped kind of room in an old building. Oh, we were happy. We never minded. We had a cat called Sexagazima. We found him, or rather he found us, a week before Lent. We never named him because of that, no. It was our anniversary. We'd been together for 60 days. And Sexy, yes, that's what we called him for short, followed us home one night after we'd been for a meal at the local Chinese place. Do cats have intuition? He seemed to know the bedsit better than we did. Knew where the warmest spots were without looking. He made himself at home, so he did. Then he let out a meow and another meow. All the time looking toward the cupboard. He knew there was something in that cupboard. and he fixed us with his big green eyes that Shane felt obliged to open up a can of corned beef and then asked the cat if he could possibly share his dinner with us.
I think Cass know more about us than let on.
Yes. After he ate, while smacking his lips approvingly at his surroundings, he proceeded to wash himself for the next half hour. From his toes to the back of his ears, and then the back of his ears to his toes, then the tail, and the tail again and again the tail. With an ostentatious stretch and yawn, he bade us good night and sauntered off to our bed. Checked the mattress by kneading its many contours and diverse densities. And before he had a chance to circle down, Shane had scooped him up and placed him on the sofa.
Poor sexy cat wanted to cuddle into the two of you. But what of Shane? You've never told me about him before.
Oh, Shane. Oh, shock is everyone knew him. He worked hard at everything. Put his hands to everything. To feed his wheels.
Wheels?
His Honda 90. His dreams of a Harley, the two of us together. Riding Ventura Highway in sunny California. With the wind in our hair. Freedom in our hearts. And era, a distant memory. That was our rhapsody.
Did you go? Did the two of you ride the West Coast?
No, we never made it. Our dreams were torn from us by a twisted system. I am the sole survivor to relate Shorky's life with me.
What happened to Sharky? Is he still around?
Oh no, he died when we were 19.
19? Please, Lucy, trust in me. Share what's troubling your soul. Perhaps I can help you chase away those demons which lurk within your heart.
Many moons ago, I worked as a barmaid at the Dardita bar on Nassau Street.
Yes, I know where you are.
Oh, I loved working there. A bar filled with characters and characters. We were like a family, we were. One big, happy family. But all that changed one night in March.
Tell me, Lucy. We'll face whatever trauma there is. Together.
It was a Friday night. The bar was full. There was a lot of Englishmen in a stag do, policemen from somewhere in Essex. Chelmsford, that was it. At first they were drunk, flowing with patter and flirting with me. They kept giving me compliments as well as large tips. At first I was enjoying the attention. But as the drink oiled their mouths and dilated their eyes, their features hardened, dissolved their personalities.
Some people think it's patriotic to get drunk.
Every time I passed to serve a customer, I was groped. Whenever I cleared a table again, I was groped. This one fella said, "I've got instincts." A sweaty face leered at my face. "Well, your instincts stink," I spat back at his face.
Filthy scum, they think just because they got a wad of notes they can do anything. That must have been a shock to you.
We never had any trouble at the Dardita bar. We never had any problems with locals or visitors. Well, this night was different. And the group of English pigs started fighting with everybody shouting, "England! England!" at the top of their voices. There was only 5 or 6 to begin with, and then the bar was filled with skinhead police.
That must have been terrifying.
Well, the violence didn't last long. It finished within minutes. Bloody-faced young and old helped one another.
You must have been really shook up about that. People like that disgust me.
Oh, Colette. That's not all that happened.
Shorky. Did the English policeman kill Shorky?
No. Well,
Please, Lucy. Tell me, please. Here, have a drink. And in your own time, tell me when you're ready. I'll behave you always.
when I finished my shift at the bar, I'd take a shortcut from Nassau Street through through the grounds of Trinity College to our bedsit on Barrow Street. Dublin's nightlife echoed beyond its dreaming spires, but my head swam with that evening's venom. I needed air and my heart throbbed painfully. In the cool night air, it seemed to cleanse, it seemed to refresh all of the sticky grubbiness that had gone before. And then...
I'm with you, Lucy. I'll never leave you.
And then from behind a tree, two of the Englishmen from the pub appeared. They just grinned at me. They stared at me as if I wasn't there. Still grinning, their smiling faces drilled holes as my body froze. Colette. Oh, those predators pounced on me with their grinning, smiling faces.
Oh, it was worse. They didn't attack you.
I was punched to silence. I melted. I was aware of the dewy taste of midnight lawns. I lay there confused, and as the grass began to turn to mud, warmed with blood, quailed to silence. And those barbing, hissing tongues being licked by jellyfish. It all seemed so false. So false. So false.
I had no idea you'd been through such an ordeal.
It was so strange. It was as though I'd found myself suspended above me. I lay there. I was puzzled. I didn't know why. I was punched again. Why again? Was I dead? Were those two policemen necrophiliacs? I was very much alive and witnessing my own rape.
Oh, Lucy, how could they do that to you? You could have been murdered.
I looked so small beneath those men. I lay there confused. One had stretched out my arms and dug his knees into them. Knelt there, at the top of my head, tearing open my shirt. I tried to say no, shout out even, but I was petrified. The other one ran his tongue up and down my face before ripping off my knickers. I hung there, choking, trying to shout. And my eyelids were shut. They shivered as I looked down toward myself. And the snarling fluidity of forced penetration was my angel of cessation. But then I was kicked between the legs by the other, and I felt as if I was left for dead. As a clock chimed midnight somewhere in the dark,
Those filthy scums, how could they do that to you?
I listened to the darkness until they were gone. Where they left me, I felt like a rag doll, ripped and torn and tossed away. I was defiled, stained with stigma, the shapelessness of violence.
They deserve to be strung up.
I was in a state of shock. I couldn't cry out. My eyes were my only guiding light. They carried me through the grounds of Trinity College. I just had to get home. I felt so filthy. And the cobbled streets slithered beneath legs I'd failed to recognize the filth. And my thighs. Blood. Whose blood? The blood oozed, crept, stiffened, stopped. Crimson slugs. So the calyx wept.
I've never heard of anything so terrible.
How could I tell Shane? How can I tell Shane? Tell him I was in a fight. How do I lie?
That must have been awful. What an ordeal to go through.
When I got home to Barrow Street, I washed and washed and washed again. I watched the bright red blood fading and pirouetting, blooming slowly down the shower drain. I looked in the mirror. I never recognized the person looking back at me. Those eyes. Those eyes. Oh, those eyes. I curled up on a rug on the bathroom floor. I shivered with cold, shivered because I was hot. I was in a vortex, a whirlpool, spinning, slowly sinking. And my voice was lost. I wanted to shout. My aching body kicked inside and out.
Where was Shane?
I could hear Shane's Honda ricocheting through the cobbled streets. As the intonation increased, my heart was in little pieces. My pulse was erratic. When I heard the motorbike stop outside our flat, my pendulous heart jarred to a stop.
I never knew. Never knew.
What could I do? Oh, Colette. Being a victim of rape was just the start. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't go to the policeman. I was abused by policemen. My ordeal really hit home about 9 weeks after the assault. Colette, I found out I was pregnant. Pregnant with the rapist baby.
No.
It was true. I thought I was late, then it hit. I didn't know what to do. I avoided Shane. I couldn't tell him.
Did you go and see a doctor?
No. Did you ever hear of a woman called Madame Dragonfly?
Yes, I did. It was she that... Oh no, Lucy, you didn't go to her, did you?
I asked a friend of a friend of a friend. I couldn't live with that thing growing inside of me. I wanted a child at some time in my life, but not like this. I was given an address, 17 Crescent Hill, the home of Madame Dragonfly, and Leafy Avenue I never knew existed. My stomach flushed with ice-cold water as I approached the large red-painted door. Every bone, every muscle, every nerve, sick, sick, sick. I was told that Madame Dragonfly used to be a midwife before being struck off for drug dealing and alcoholism. I only knew her name was Isabella.
I've heard of those backstreet abortionists. I never knew you had so much trauma in your past.
She appeared at the door in a gaudy flower-patterned pinny, the type my mammy wore. She had on these thick, thick glasses, large compound eyes like some nocturnal creature hypnotized by a far-off light. An abrupt hairstyle with the careless blue streak made her face massive, and her high-pitched voice startled me. "Follow me!" she said, and I followed her down some steps and into a kitchen. The air stung heavily of steam and grease. A near in-tune John Pill chatted away in a corner above the sink, and the radio seemed to hiss in this acidic room. "Cash now!" A big stumpy-fingered hand reached out to me. I put the scrapings of the 100 I'd managed to get together from various sources into that sweaty palm, and her quick tongue tossed her colourless lips as she unwreathed the hot and tightly packed summer money. "Slate!" she said, and offered me some Blue Label vodka with a little water in it. Gets into the bloodstream quicker. She continued and drained her glass. I was told to lie on a kitchen table. For comfort, disturbingly, I was made to lie on a baby's changing mat. I undid my clothes and lay back. The sickness welled in my throat and my heart leapt in its cage like a trapped bird. She said, "Among my tools to remove the products of conception, there's a certain instrument which is formed with a nicely adjusted flexible frame for opening the uterus first of all and keeping it open. It is further furnished with an annular blade for means of which the limbs within the womb are dissected with unfaltering care. Following that, I'll be using a hook to extricate the entire fetus. Vacuum aspiration!" A machine purred gently. "I will also be using a hook and a trifurcating cutting tool to alleviate your condition. Then you'll be as clean as meat." She said those words as though pulling a scalp from my thumb. The nausea elapsed. I gripped the table and the greasy underside matted my fingers. Above my head, hanging from the ceiling, a cadaverous creature's fingers placidly point judgingly, and I'm falling in love with hate. There were complications. The abortionist could not stop the bleeding, and because she had drank so much was in a panic. She was crying and hysterical. I was weak and confused from the medication I'd previously taken. When I saw the amount of blood I was losing and the pitiful attempts of Madame Dragonfly to stem this bleeding, I broke down also, seeing that drunken heap of a woman lying on the floor. "I trusted you! I trusted you!" I spat on her face as she poured another drink. She said, "Take these pills and get yourself to the hospital! You run the risk of blood poisoning!" And threw some bloody pills onto the table. I was scared. A man appeared in the doorway of the kitchen. A small man, not Irish. He bundled up my things and chucked them at me. Intimidating. He grabbed my wrists and yanked me from the table, from the kitchen, up the stairs and out the door. I didn't know it yet, but my nightmare was just beginning.
I cried as I told the nurse what had happened. I cried with pain and guilt. I cried as I saw my name written in ink, black and white, and none appeared on the page. I was rushed to the emergency theatre. I was lying back on the trolley. The strip lights fired over my head, chased by the silent silhouette of a wimple. Colette, I awoke in a hospital bed. A silent, single room, achingly cleansed with florid sterility. No sound, no heartbeat, no breath. My marbled eyes chose to wander through this barren land. Above me a crucifix cut the wall. I remember thinking, there are bars on this bed. I feel incarcerated, ensnared within a wired web. There was a fluidity upon the silence, A bloody glow from stolen angels. I couldn't hear them, but their wings disturbed a hushed tongue of flame. Somewhere near, but nowhere far.
You must have been through so much, Lucy.
There was this votive lamp in a crimson bowl, pulsating with this energy that captivated my heart, floating on midnight air to catch the fleeting echoes of two whispering shadows. One a priest, the second a nun. Smeared and distorted beyond the blur and flame, their chiaroscuro auras loomed irritatingly over the blessed kissed walls of this sickening room.
Where were the doctors? The nurses? Surely they were more important. He needed medical, not them.
The nun by his side, a shadow, a ventriloquist shadow of papal infallibility, with stern Asaros eyes that seemed to stitch and sew me to the bed, cautioned a cultrate smile. A well-fingered rosary, an abacus dividing and dissecting my sins, echoed Gloria, 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 as the judging priest genuflected, not to me, but to the crucifix that hung above me. My eyes drained, and the throbbing blood on the walls grew louder and louder, suffocating, riddling. My ruby eyes sunk slowly as an arabescent carnation opened her wings and enclosed me in her gentle sleep.
Can the church not leave us alone?
Ah, Colette. The nightmare that I was in surfaced for air. Shane was arrested and charged with rape.
What?
My rape.
Shane charged with your rape? But it was that policeman and his accomplice that abused you.
It was the priest, Father Hickey, who informed me, as I stared confused through the bars at the bottom of my hospital bed, the hissing nun inflected with each and every enunciation. Father Hickey spoke as if from another planet. I felt as if I was in the carcass of a long, dead whale, the ribcage squeezing tighter and tighter. Again and again, I was told that Shane had been charged with my rape and that the two British policemen were witnesses to the despicable offence. Oh, those words echoed all around me. I could barely hear myself saying, "No, it's not true. It's not true." But it was all just wordless faces, swarming voices, clawing at each artery.
Was no one listening to you?
No. Then there were the 3 police officers suspended in my hospital room. One a plainclothes detective, 2 in uniform. 1 male, 1 female. Those puppets joined the priest and the nun. The trench coat wearing detective. Why do they always wear trench coats? Hovered at the foot of my bed. He told me that there was no doubt about Shane's guilt. That Shane must have been feeling remorseful for his heinous crime. And that he took his own life rather than face the consequences of a trial.
Shane. You're Shane. But why would they lie? Why were they trying to destroy your life?
I remember looking at the detective. I looked at the other shapes. I looked. But I found no answer. The detective spoke as all policemen spoke. A tedious, cliche-ridden statement only makes sense to other policemen.
Out of all the meaninglessness, I managed to discern that Shane, while awaiting trial, had hung himself in his cell. He told me that there was no doubt of Shane's guilt. He couldn't face me in court, so he did the cowardly thing and swung in Mountjoy prison.
That is the most saddest thing I've ever heard. I had no idea you had so much trauma in your past. I've always seen you as a very strong woman. I never knew you'd been through so much.
There was no reason to. There was nothing I could do. There was no indication of Shane's inner trauma. All he had to do was confide in me. Talk to me, Shane. Why didn't you talk to me? You're my soulmate. You're the star in my firmament. I never got the chance to speak. I'll never know what Shane's last words were. I wanted to scream and shout, no, no, no. But I was submerging in the hospital bed again. And the walls drained. And they began to bleed. And I drained with them. I was sent to court for having an abortion. I was charged not only with having an abortion,
but with also withholding information as to the identity of the abortionist. My sentence? 2 years in a St. Scholastica workhouse, which was run by that same priest and nun who hovered at the end of my hospital bed. My time there? I don't recall. Colette, my time is now.
You've been through so much, Lucy. Because of those ordeals and the consequences that you've been through, you've become a stronger woman. In my eyes, you're the most special person that I've ever met.
My kites and my children I never received. My kites are my masks, and they help me come to terms with all the murdered youth. The world seems such a noisy place when you're alone. Incoherent, unexplainable, alien. The language of languages, shoals of differing fish, chase one and each through the silvering iridescence of acceptance. Aquarium, labyrinthine, where echoes breed and starfish spin. I will swim where the slow whale swims. I will surf upon my scalloped shell to the coast of Tralee, to my village of January. My kites and my masks, they help me come to terms with all the murdered youth. They are my wings. And you know what? You know what? I am beautiful. I am beautiful.
Insomnia, euphoria, thoughts like 1,000 warriors. Sleep, my soul, don't feel no pain. Empty pieces coming back again. Yawning breath all through the night. Chilling wind with a nasty bite. Stormy sky gives up to light, and the sun shines again. and the sun shines again. Well, I try to forget you now. Empty bottles were a mirror somehow. This killing wind with a nasty bite said, don't look back, drive through the night. Insomnia, the color gray. Well, time will heal our wounds, they say, but the empty night leaves questions raised, and the sun shines again, and the sun shines again. Well, I don't know, but I tried to keep the flame for you buried inside. Well, all these days of sleepless nights, this weary haze to reality bites. Insomnia, euphoria, chilling peace are a constant woe. But the sun shines again, but the sun shines again. Insomnia, euphoria, warrior. What's it for? Well, I don't know, but I tried to keep the flame for you buried inside. Well, all these days of sleepless nights, this weary haze to reality bites. Insomnia, euphoria, chilling peace are a constant woe. But the sun shines again, but the sun shines again.
Come on.